if you don't know who I already am. My husband Dale and I are the creators of the From Seed to Spoon app. And I just wanted to take a minute and welcome everybody here tonight. We're going to be talking all about holiday things and holiday gifts to give that you can give your gardeners and things you can grow and eat, all of that. It's going to be a really fun night, so I'm looking forward to it. First of all, can everybody hear me okay? I just wanted to make sure that my audio is working and everybody can see everything and we're all good to go. So if somebody that is out there can let me know that they can hear me, I'd appreciate it.
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we are good to go then. I'm looking forward to tonight. This holiday time is probably one of my favorite times of year. I absolutely love growing and giving lots of unique things that you can grow yourself and do yourself. So it's super fun. I absolutely love it. So anyways, like I said before, my name is Carrie. My husband Dale and I are the creators of Park Seeds app, From Seed to Spoon. This is it right here. It'll help walk you through growing over 100 different fruits, vegetables, herbs, all of that. And it just helps make growing simple. Whenever my husband and I first started going and growing our own food, we ran through so many different hiccups throughout that time. And this is actually a picture right here of our backyard whenever we first started growing our own food. And just a few years later, you can see what we did. We got a little obsessed and really started growing a whole bunch of things. So as you can imagine through that process, there's a huge learning curve, and we were learning all sorts of things and bringing books out into the garden, all of that. And we were like, there must be an app for that. And so anyways, there wasn't. And Dale, being the amazing person he is, developed it. It was awesome. Him and a couple friends, and it was amazing. And I still use this app to help myself as well out in the garden and keep track of the plants that I'm growing out there and all of that. So, and it'll also help you tonight too with all of the things that we're talking about. So there'll be the plants for you to grow to give as gifts. And also there's shopping through the app as well. If you weren't familiar with that, there is a section for going through shopping for seeds and for items all through Parks store. So just make sure that you all knew that. Oh, and there's a discount code too. I want to make sure that you guys are aware of that. If you shop through the app, if you do Spoon 15, you get 15% off. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started tonight. I thought we would jump right in talking about 5 of my favorite gifts to grow for gardeners. So I try to pull different unique things that I have given as gifts or received as gifts, things like that I really love. So the very first one is one of my very favorites and probably the first thing that we gifted from the garden ourselves. And see if he's going to turn the slide. Dale's controlling the slides for me, so maybe. Oh, you went one too far. We gave you all a sneak peek of what's coming up next. So first of all on the list is loofah. And this is one, if you haven't ever grown it yourself, you definitely need to try it. It is so much fun and unique. And I actually had no idea that you could grow it before we started doing it ourselves several years ago. It is amazing. It grows on a trellis, and it's very similar to squash. So it is a form of squash, and you can actually eat them too. So very similar to zucchini. If you're going to eat them, you want to harvest them when they're small. But if you want to grow them as sponges, which is what I always like to do with loofah, you want to leave them on the vine until they dry out. And then you'll pull them at that point, and then you take the skin off, and then you're left with the inside part, which is the sponge part, which you can see on the right side of that picture right there. And that is an amazing thing. I absolutely love growing our own sponges, and it is an amazing gift too to give to whoever is in your life that likes to garden, or if they don't like to garden, that's the beauty of this gift, is that it can literally be for anybody who takes a shower, bath, cleans in the kitchen. I mean, any of it. It is really great. You can give it with any sort of I've done like do it yourself sugar scrubs before with this loofah. Anything like that, you can gift to loofah, and it's an amazing thing that you can grow yourself, and they will be amazed that you actually grew a sponge. So this is something that's super impressive. Absolutely love it. And then next on the list, I'm sure somebody out there has probably gotten aloe before as a gift, and I have as well. And aloe is one that is a awesome plant, and it is great to give because it is super low maintenance. So even if people do not have a very green thumb, they can still manage to keep aloe alive. And this is something that is it's great because it reproduces your by itself. So I had one huge aloe plant one year that had, they call them little pups whenever they have little offsprings, and it had like at least 10 little pups on the side that I transplanted into other pots, and I gave all of those out as gifts that year. And I actually had the kids get their own pots and paint the pots themselves and plant out the aloe plants. We gave them to grandparents, they gave them to their teachers. This is one that is a super great plant to gift for not just gardeners, but anybody who would appreciate some green inside of their house. Aloe vera is definitely an amazing thing, and I always love to have it around too, just in case anybody gets a sunburn. Also, it is great to have around, and you can just cut it off at the base of the plant and then use it to apply wherever you got sunburned. I always have it around for that reason. It is absolutely amazing. And next, I do want to mention rosemary. Rosemary is something that is really great because, first of all, it's very Christmassy and it smells amazing. I absolutely love rosemary. Then you can make some amazing wreaths from it too. And that's probably something that I definitely aspire to. And one way that I'm trying to go about that is making as many rosemary plants as I can. And rosemary is one that you can propagate yourself really easily. So you can just take cuttings from the top of the plant. And what I do is just take the leaves off of the very bottom, put it in some rooting hormone, and then you can grow your own rosemary plants. So I really like to get a lot of rosemary plants started growing. The biodome, if you haven't ever seen those, I will show you one of those here soon. The biodome is a great environment for propagating any sort of herbs, so especially rosemary. It's a really great environment for growing them out. And then if you plant out a rosemary, they are a fantastic gift to give just as a plant. Again, it's a super low maintenance one, doesn't like a whole bunch of water. So it could be a really great one to give for somebody that's just getting into gardening, or maybe somebody that you want to encourage to get into gardening. And then as well, like I said before too, if you have enough to make like a rosemary wreath, things like that, rosemary is amazing. And then next on the list, I want to mention lavender. Lavender is probably one of my very favorite plants to grow. I love the smell of it. It is so relaxing and stress relieving. Smells amazing. And of course, as you can see in the pictures, it looks so pretty. I absolutely love it. And it is another one just like rosemary. It's super easy to propagate and grow yourself. So this is something that I always recommend for somebody that's just starting out too, that wants both an herb as something that smells really good and looks really pretty. So this is something that would be a really great plant to grow and to give to somebody in your life. And then the next one that I wanted to talk about are chives. So I wanted to include something along these lines that is really easy to grow indoors that you can use in the kitchen as well. And chives are something that's really great because you can grow them in a small space or a large space and they'll take it over. But I like to grow chives in pots and you can grow them in your kitchen and they will do fantastic. And I actually had the kids had these little animal pots that they would grow in. My son had a dinosaur one that was real small, but we had some soil in it and then we put some chive seeds in it and then it would grow. And it was amazing because it's just like the hair. And then you can trim it up, use the chives in the kitchen. It was great. So chives have so many uses for both beauty. As you can see, those flowers are super pretty whenever they go to bloom. And those chive flowers are edible too. So you can eat the chive flowers, you can eat the chive plant. It's all tastes amazing, looks really pretty, has a lot of uses. So I always recommend chives too. And then now I wanted to talk a little bit about 5 great gifts to grow, or not to grow, we already talked about that. 5 great gifts to buy for your gardeners. And the first on my list, if you guys know me, you will not be surprised that I put the seating square as my number one pick. And the seating square, if you've never heard of it, this is a tool that is super useful if you are doing square foot gardening and it or if you have just a little amount of space in your garden and you want to make the most out of the small space that you have. This is absolutely amazing because it has a little hole for each area in there for how many per square foot that you're supposed to plant. So each plant in the app, you'll see this number too. Each plant has a number where you can find as to how many you're supposed to plant per square. So we go out there, and if it's something that's supposed to be 12, we know that we need to put it in each of the red circles, or that's all color coded. So it's amazing too. As you can see, we have the picture too of my husband and our 7-year-old. Well, she's not 7 in that picture, but she was out there helping us plant, and the kids absolutely love the seating square. And it really helps too for them with counting and learning colors, things like that. So I highly recommend the seating square, especially if you are giving for a gardener that has any kids or anything like that. It is super helpful for kids as well as just if you want to take advantage of space and keep organized, all of that. The seating square is fantastic to use. I absolutely love it. And then the next one that I recommend is the smart pots. These ones are great too. If you haven't ever grown with these fabric raised beds, you need to try it out. I was so surprised whenever we first tried them out. We didn't think that they would last very long or that they would hold up in our Oklahoma heat that we have. And we were so surprised that they actually performed really, really well. The Smart Pot brand was absolutely fantastic. I mean, like we have here, like we have a lot of smart pots that we have had in our garden for a very long time, like since the very beginning that we started growing, and they're still doing really well. And the beauty of smart pots is that they come in all sorts of different sizes. So they have all the way from like these little tiny 1 gallon ones, all the way to these really large 100-gallon round raised beds. So they have different colors too. I have in my garden some purple and then black, and there's tan and blue. There's all sorts of different colors and sizes. There's something for everything. So if you are looking to give somebody like a pot of some sort, or if you wanted to pot up a plant and give to somebody, these smart pots are a great thing to do also. And they're super easy to use. They come just folded up, and all you need to do is just open them up and fill them with soil, and you're good to go. And they're super portable. I can't say enough great things about the smart pots. I absolutely love them. Our garden is filled with them, as you can tell. And then next, of course, I had to mention the biodome. I already mentioned a little bit about it earlier when we were talking about propagating. And this biodome is something that we just started using this last spring. That was our first time that we had tried it. And before, we were always using just those, um, those cheap plastic flimsy ones. And we would have them for one use, and then they would, of course, break on us, and then we would put them in the trash. So I was really surprised whenever I got the biodome for the first time and started planting in that. I was like, wow, these things are incredible. They have all, of course, stayed with us. They're working amazing. They have all sorts of different sizes that you can do too. And it just makes seed starting and propagating just so much simpler. I have not had any issues at all with getting seeds to germinate and do well. It has the perfect environment because it has the lid on it right there, and then you can vent it up on top with the vents. And then I take the lid off whenever they've all sprouted and put the light way down, and they have all done so well. And these are super durable, and I'm imagining that they're going to last a very long time, as ours have already lasted a year, and I'm sure that they will continue to last. They've done really well for us. And there's all sorts of different sizes too. So, spoiler alert, make sure you stick with us to the end too, because we're going to be doing a giveaway. If you all registered, you were entered to win for the giveaway. And some of these things that I'm talking about might be on the list. So make sure you stay tuned. And so I want to mention a soil knife. So this one is Dale's best friend. He has this on him at all times in the garden whenever we are planting things out. Like, we always work together. Like, he gets the soil all prepped and ready to go, and I'll come behind him and plant and do all that. But having a nice handy soil knife is super helpful because it helps to break up any roots that are down in the soil, helps to break it up. It is so handy to have around. So this is an amazing gift for any gardener that you have in your life. You definitely need to check that out. And even if they already have a soil knife, like, we actually have several in our garden, because it never fails that we leave one on the other side of the garden, or we forget and we don't know where we put it. So it's always great and handy to have several soil knives around, so you can't go wrong even if they already had one to begin with too. Oh, a link to the biodome. I'm sure Dale can help us out with that, and he can put one in the chat for us too. But make sure that you check out too in the app, in our From Seed to Spoon app. If you go in there under the shopping area, there will be an area in there to find the biodome also. And then, of course, last but not least, I have to mention these great stocking stuffers. And of course, the park seeds. And if you are unsure of what seeds to get for the gardener in your life, I always recommend getting the blends. There are so many different combo blends that they have that are these beauty blends and things like that. Like, they have these amazing radish beauty blends that are great. They have amazing food, and they have flower ones that are really great blends too. So you can't ever go wrong with something like that. And then I had to include this picture too, because these labels and this garden marker have been a game changer for me. It is not something that they will think to get for themselves or think that they would even need, because I didn't think that I needed this garden marker whenever we first ordered it. I was like, okay, it's a garden marker. But I realized before that all of our markers were rubbing off in the while we were watering in the soil, all of that within the season. It never failed that I was like, well, what plant is this again? So I was absolutely amazed when I used these. All of them are still perfectly crisp, legible. I can't say enough amazing things about this garden marker. So I had to make sure that I mentioned that too, because that is something that people may not know that they need, but they definitely need it. And it is something that they will absolutely love. And you can find this marker too. It's in our app under our favorites, because I absolutely love it. So it is under the shopping area in the favorites. Okay. So let's shift gear a little bit. Here, hold on. Real quick. Oh, okay. My battery was saying low. I had to make sure that I plugged it in. Okay, so 5 great foods to grow to eat during the holidays. Now, this was a really hard list to make because there are so many different things, and I absolutely love all of them. So I had to narrow it down somehow. So I had to pick some of the traditional things and some of the not so traditional things. So, first of all, of course, had to say pumpkin, right? So pumpkin is something that you would grow in the summer. It is a really good vining plant. You can grow it along a trellis or you can grow it along the ground, and then you can use it in, of course, pumpkin pies, anything like that. And I love to make these pumpkin cinnamon muffins too. Super, super amazing tasting. Absolutely love it. And I would always recommend starting with these smaller pumpkins too, especially if you are a beginner or not familiar with growing yet. I always, even myself, I start with the smaller pumpkins. They're just a lot simpler. They're easier to use and bake with, and they're a lot easier to grow too because you can grow them along a trellis. We like to do a cattle panel, and sometimes we do cattle panel arch trellis, and those are really fun and easy to do. And I love those because and growing the small pumpkins makes it a lot easier too, because then you don't have to worry about them falling off as much. And they're a lot easier to support when they're the smaller ones on a trellis. And then next, I wanted to mention butternut squash. So this is something that is great too, not just for ornamental purposes. Same with pumpkins. A lot of people just grow them for ornamental, but butternut squash is super tasty. We absolutely love air fried butternut squash or roasted butternut squash. Tastes really good, and you can make it super, super tasty by adding like some brown sugar or cinnamon, things like that. And it makes it almost like a dessert. And it is super great. It makes the whole kitchen smell just super festive. So butternut squash is always something that I always want to grow in this time period and harvest, because so I can harvest it now and eat it. It's amazing. So if you haven't grown this before, you definitely need to give it a try next summer. So that way you have plenty to eat at this time of year. And then sweet potatoes are definitely something that everybody always eats this time of year, right? There's so many different ways that you can eat sweet potatoes. You can have them mashed, or you can have them with the sweet. Everybody always likes to do the sweet potatoes with like marshmallows and all that. But one of my very favorite ways to make sweet potatoes is this picture up here that I have. And this is a picture of sweet potatoes roasted with some carrots. And it is super tasty. And if you roast it with some butter and then sprinkle it, if you have cinnamon basil left from your garden, that is my favorite to put on top of here is cinnamon basil. So good. But otherwise, you can sprinkle it with any sort of herb, thyme, anything like that. It tastes so good. So that is definitely something that I recommend trying this holiday season. It's just sweet potatoes, carrots roasted together. It's really, really good. And then, of course, rosemary. Can't miss rosemary again. I think we've mentioned rosemary for every single section so far. Rosemary is just very holiday. But you can add rosemary pretty much to anything. The biggest thing that I will say for rosemary is you need to make sure to not overdo it, because you can very easily overdo it with rosemary. So always start small whenever you are adding rosemary to a dish and then add as you go. I love the taste, but it is super easy to overpower, and you don't want to do that. And then chives again. Chives are fantastic to add to anything, especially mashed potatoes in this time of year. I know lots of people are making mashed potatoes and all sorts of potatoes coming up next week, I'm sure. And chives are something that is super easy to add, and you can brag on yourself that you grew the chives that you put into your potatoes. And chives, again, are something that's super simple to grow. You can grow them indoors in your kitchen if you want to, or you can grow them outdoors. There's a lot of different ways, and they're pretty easy to grow. They do love to take over an area, and they will spread and take over like an entire pot if you let them, which I absolutely love. And I let them do that because I eat a lot of chives. So chives are definitely something that is fantastic to add. And then, of course, I had to leave a sixth one just to call out all the other herbs. I mean, seriously, you can't go wrong with adding any sort of herbs that you can grow in into any of your dishes that you make this holiday season. So I had to make a special slide just to call out the ones that I didn't mention before. So thyme and sage, all of those, they are fantastic. And parsley, I didn't mention parsley. That one's really good. You can add all these into any sort of soups if you are a fan of making soups around the holiday season. Those are a really good addition as well. Sage is fantastic to add on turkey too, and thyme as well. You can use thyme just as you would do for salt. Just add thyme whenever you would add some salt into any dish, and it is really really great. It is super. It's not like rosemary where you can easily add too much. You can add as much thyme as you want to any dish, I feel like, and it makes it really good. And then um, make sure too, whenever you are having your turkey, and that you take that and you make some broth, and you can pull all of these herbs and pop it into the broth, and it will give you so much. It'll give a lot of great flavor, as well as adding lots of great health benefits too, because a lot of these herbs are just jam packed with lots and lots of vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, all of that. They're so healthy for you. So anytime you can sneak in any sort of herbs, I always recommend doing that. Okay, so I teased and told you all a little bit that we were giving a giveaway at the end of this. So I wanted to make sure that I made a slide for this because I almost forgot during our last webinar. So I was like, oh no, I have to make sure that I do it this time. So our holiday seed starting gift pack right here is going to be for a biodome. And also we're going to do some seeds and also some labels and my favorite garden marker. So it'll be a fantastic seed starting gift pack giveaway that is going to be to a lucky winner for somebody that had registered for this class. And I think Dale had was doing the winner over there. Do you have the winner pulled up? Oh, the winner is Tracy Pretty. I like it. Congratulations, Tracy. So Tracy, all you need to do, well, I will get in touch with you. So if you registered, you should have entered your email address, hopefully correctly, and I will reach out to you. If not, if I don't email you, you can double check and reach out to me too at info@seedtospoon.net as well. And we will send you your holiday gift starting or your seed starting gift pack. I hope you enjoy it. Oh, so okay, Daryl had a great question. Do we have a YouTube for the biodome? Yes, I actually have several videos that I've made with the biodome showing, first of all, how to set it up, as well as just going through and getting them planted, all of that. I've made a lot of videos this springtime. Can we pop in maybe a link to? Okay, he's going to do it. He's going to pop a link into the comment section so that way you guys can follow that YouTube if you wanted to check out a video of how I go about using the biodome and setting that up and all of that. It was really easy to use. I really love them. Did we have any other questions from anybody? Or does anybody have any questions before we let you all go?
There's some questions about garlic earlier on.
Some garlic. Oh, too late to plant garlic here in Oklahoma. You know what? I always say it's never too late to plant garlic. I especially if you're here in Oklahoma, we can still work with the soil here. You can definitely still plant it. Yeah, as long as the ground isn't frozen, you can still go ahead and plant garlic. We'll probably be planting more, I'm sure, because we like to find several different types of garlic, and we haven't found our elephant garlic yet. And elephant garlic is one of my favorites. So, oh, I've never been able to successfully grow lavender. I'm so sorry, because lavender is so pretty. So, a few things about growing lavender. You do want to make sure that your soil is well draining because it is one that really does not like to have its feet wet. So, that means like it doesn't like to sit in water. So, you need to make sure that you both don't water too much and that the soil is well draining. And I would highly recommend if you didn't grow it in a smart pot to give that a try because the smart pots are great at draining and you you'll hopefully be more successful in that. Oh, can't find the biodome in the app. Let's see. He's pulling up. Let's see. He's sent. Okay. Go to shop. Oh, here. Can I just pull up a picture here? I'll be really high tech and pull up my phone here. Pulling up the app on my phone. Okay, so. Okay, so up here, there was shop plants and supplies. And then accessories right here. And then if you can look here, there is a section for seed starting. That's probably the easiest way to go about finding it. And you'll find several of the things we talked about today. So there's like the seeding square, and then there are some biodomes, things like that all throughout there. So hopefully that helps. There's also a search that you can search right there, and you can type bio space dome and it'll pop up there too. So I know me and my high tech just showing my phone in the video. Hopefully that worked. Hopefully you could see it. Do we have any other questions? Okay. Well, great. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for coming and hanging out with us tonight and talking all about holiday gifts and foods and all of that. It was super fun. And if you guys do have any other questions afterwards, please feel free to leave them in the comment section and we'll get back to you there. Or and we'll be making more videos too that'll be coming out to our YouTube channel as well as the park Facebook and Instagram, all of that. So make sure that you're staying linked up with us, and we'll be posting on there. Well, thank you so much, everybody, and I hope you have a great holiday season.